Hello everybody, we go again. It is Arsenal versus Manchester City. If you didn't see my half-time, full-time match reaction to Everton versus Liverpool in the Merseyside derby, 2-2, the game was absolute chaos. I've done a video on it. There's a card right here. Click on it if you haven't seen it just yet. It's an absolute belter. In that video, I was suggesting, could we get ourselves to 55k in this video? That's the dream this weekend. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you enjoy the content, it makes a massive, massive difference. So hit that subscribe button. Over 40% of you guys watch the videos but aren't subscribed, which is cool, which is amazing. But it would be wonderful if you did hit that button. So please, please do. Let's get into this game. I'm going to do what I did for the other match reaction. Of course, is half-time reaction, full-time reaction. I don't know what the final score is of this game between Manchester City and Arsenal because it's half-time. The score at half-time, of course, is Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0. But Arsenal are creeping back into it, and the game has just been tactically just totally absorbing. Let's look at the lineups and the talking points as we went into the game, because I think the lineups that you would have seen on your screen were not the lineups that we saw as the game progressed. For Manchester City, Cancelo came into the side. We're wondering where exactly he was going to fit in. Would it be in a back four? Would it be in a back three? It turned out to be he was actually kind of playing in midfield. Nathan Ake, left back for Manchester City. So many problems for Manchester City in that role, and they're looking at Nathan Ake to come in and maybe offer just some defensive stability as much as anything else. But the big one, of course, Aguero coming back into the side. Man City have just been so, God, dare I say it, kind of toothless without having a proper striker, which is fair enough, isn't it? But of course, De Bruyne not in this side. João Cancelo comes in, and Fernandinho is on the bench as well. For Arsenal, one change was enforced right at the just before the game started. David Luiz having to come in for Rob Holding, who got injured in the warm-up, and they played three at the back, and David Luiz having to play on the right side of a back three. Obviously, he's much more comfortable in that central spot. So that was a little bit curveball for Arsenal. And Guardiola gets Arteta. I think the thought process here for both of them going into the game must have been fascinating about how do you change it? Do you work with what's gone well? The other big change for Arsenal was that Pepe came into the side. Willian and Aubameyang were the other two guys up top. Lacazette drops to the bench, as does Nketiah. But otherwise, it was pretty much what we were expecting, and they were playing in a similar way than we were expecting. I mean, that said, if you have a look at the actual positions that they were playing, this is on SofaScore. I don't even think I'm not even sure this is totally right, because you've got Raheem Sterlin on the right-hand side. The idea is that they're playing three at the back, which they kind of were doing to stop the threat of Aubameyang, because the way that Arsenal play, and you will have seen with some of these lineups actually, they're fantastic. They're absolutely amazing, and they come from Who Assisted. A link to their Twitter and Instagram are in the descriptions. One of the tactical elements of Arsenal that they've highlighted is the dual role of Bukayo Saka. And Bukayo Saka in that first half was enthralling to watch, because if you look at his heat map, it's all along that left-hand side. Sometimes as they get into the final third, getting into those different pockets, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but there was a great chance for Saka in the 39th minute. Ederson made an amazing save, but it was because he was drifting inside, and he does that in this dual role that he plays. When they don't have the ball, he's playing as a midfielder, really. He's always playing as part of the three, defensive midfield three. Back to Man City, and wow, I mean, Cancelo is the big talking point for me. Here's my prediction for the next half. This man here will get sent off in this game. He just doesn't look comfortable in there. I understand what they've done here. They've put almost two right backs on the pitch so that they can stop the threat of that left side of Arsenal. They really do not concern themselves too much with the right side, and I think that's maybe why they're looking to utilise Pepe as well, because in case that sort of that switch ball was there for them, then you can play it to Pepe and he might be able to do something one-on-one. But for Man City, they played Cancelo. Pep's played Cancelo in this game to stop Tierney being able to carry the ball like he does normally. If we have a look at the carries that come from this Arsenal team, Tierney is right up there in terms of the carries, and he does it from that left side. The same goes for Gabriel on that left-hand side as well. The whole focus is about getting Aubameyang on the ball. And I think Pep's made the right call in doing what he's doing. He gets Kyle Walker there as part of a three, but often he's drifted out wide to play as a right back when they've got the ball. Cancelo's played right wing. He's played sort of in the hole there. He's played as a central midfielder, but he looks a little bit clumsy to me. He's already been booked, and I can see him getting booked in the second half. Man City, of course, are 1-0 up in this game. I think overall they probably won it on points, but Arsenal playing very differently, very, very differently to how they have done in the past. Have a look at the presses. I said this on the Jaffin podcast earlier in the week on the channel. Arsenal not known for their pressures. And especially if we look in the attacking third, they're really not known for it. So the way that they were playing in the first 10, 20 minutes, I think there was an idea that, I mean, they're there for the taking a little bit, Manchester City. They're not completely bulletproof. The one problem I would say with that is the fact that with Willian pretty much playing as a centre forward in this game, I think he's offering absolutely nothing. And if you are going to press, I think you need someone who can put a bit of pressure on Diaz. I think at the moment, Willian doesn't really want to make a tackle. He doesn't really want to press with any kind of real aggression. So you're better off having someone like Lacazette, who works so hard for the team, or Nketiah, who does the exact same thing. And if they do get that one chance, at least Man City will be a bit more concerned about those other players on the pitch. I think at the moment, they're just concerned with stopping Aubameyang. Aubameyang's had about 15 touches in the game. He's not really getting involved at all. Although, right at the end of the half, he was actually onside, apparently, and Ederson came out with a great save. 2 great saves in the last 5 minutes from Ederson as he came into the game. The one thing I would love to see, and I'll be fascinated to see if Arteta's got it in him as he takes on the master, that is Pep Guardiola, as he is the apprentice, is let's see Aubameyang on the right-hand side. I know he won't be able to cut in and smash it in like he normally does, but I think it will give them something completely different to think about. And in terms of one-on-one situations and the possibility of being able to do that, I'd love to see Arsenal with a bit of a plan B, because I think at the moment, Man City have kind of got their number. There are moments when they're getting them overloaded with Saka moving into those little pockets, and Aubameyang looking to then drive in on the right with Tierney after he makes those movements. Because Tierney I absolutely love, because he's not what you expect from a player who's picking up the ball in those positions. A bit similar to Kyle Walker, who I think is one of the most underappreciated defenders that there is in the Premier League, because he's so multifunctional for Man City and for Pep, who wants players who are going to be able to do that. But yeah, Aubameyang, can you go on the other side? I think normally when you say a 4-4-2, you go, well, let's switch them around. Let's see what's happening there. Yes, you might not get anything from Pep, but you might get a little bit more from Aubameyang. The problem is they're so well drilled, Arteta's team, and so well stocked on the left-hand side in terms of how they play, and Aubameyang is everything to them, that I can't see them doing it. But I would love to see a little bit more from Arsenal down that right-hand side, but I'm not sure they've got it. But maybe a proper striker playing in there with his back to goal might be able to pin someone like Diaz and get around them a different way. But I think for Arsenal, they need to stick in the game, because I think they might get 1 or 2 more chances. For Man City, I haven't spoken too much about them. I think Silva's got a real part to play in this second half, because he's being given the opportunity to play in the position that he wants, that David Silva position, without De Bruyne in the team today. Raheem Sterling's pretty much playing as an attacking midfielder at this moment in time. I could see him getting another goal, and Foden a little bit disappointed with him. I think there's a bit of almost like a power play there, because you could understand Foden playing in that area and Sterling playing out on the left. I wonder if either Sterling's kind of said something, or he's got this new idea though he actually wants to play a bit more central because he wants to get more goals from him. I don't know. It's interesting. But I think in terms of natural position, you would go, well, let's keep Sterling out on the left where he's been brilliant for them, and let's put Foden in the attacking midfield position. For the goal, the one thing I'd say about the goal is, can Ceballos stop that pass? I think if it's a bit more, if it's El Neni, he's probably more concerned about that, because Mahrez, it's a beautiful pass, but he's able to cut through quite a few players there. And I think that would have disappointed Ceballos and Arteta as well. But I think those are the two that are going to come on, and you're hopefully going to do something. For Man City, you might want something different with such a congested area when Mahrez looks to bring it into these congested areas where Man City are actually quite fluent and actually like to load bodies there. I don't mind that. But Ferran Torres might offer you something different as a proper out-and-out right winger. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes on at some point. Or Fernandinho, is he going to pop on and try and shore it up? Amazing game. I'm fascinated for the second half. I'll see you at full time. So it's full time. 1-0 it finished. The second half was a little bit quieter, let's be honest. And I think the main thing to take from that was that I think for Arteta to beat this Man City team, certainly he's closed the gap. No doubt about that. But I don't think he's got a plan B yet for this Arsenal team. A plan B that can really devastate an opposition, unsettle an opposition, and get themselves kind of back into a game in a way that's a little bit more kind of their own doing. it felt like in that second half, if you think of the changes that made, first of all, I think Pep had one over Arteta in this round. I'm not sure who's won the war yet. I think there's a long way to go with Arteta because they're not playing on an equal playing field at the moment in time. But no doubt Arteta has moved this Arsenal team to a new level where these games are really hard fought by Pep Guardiola, and really hard thought by Pep Guardiola in terms of how he tactically puts his team together to both stop Arsenal and to find a way. That's what Man City had to do today, and I think with the tactics that they utilised in that sort of that 3-4-3 that they used in this game, I think the biggest compliment you could probably give to Arteta and Arsenal is that Gundogan came on for Sergio Aguero, and that's a sort of defensive substitution. But apart from that, no substitutions were made until Fernandinho, another defensive substitution, happened in the 89th minute. So all of those other players where you would go, oh, let's get another winger on. Let's see if we can go get ourselves another goal, because there's not that kind of that fear to change it up a little bit. There was that fear. They had a very clear game plan, Pep Guardiola, and it worked. You know, he sort of had one over Arteta, but as I say, again, kind of Arteta's fighting with one arm behind his back, because I think in terms of sort of attacking assets that can really, really hurt Man City, it feels like it's all about Aubameyang. Willian was very poor for me, very, very poor for me. Pepe didn't do too much. The only time you're really excited is when Pepe gets over a free kick, and even then he didn't really offer much when the couple of moments that they had. But the game management from Pep I thought was really, really good, really, really strong. That's what we know about Pep. That's what he's annoyingly good at, is management of football games and management through retaining the ball. We can have a look at the stats from the end of the game here. 58 possession to 42. I think actually there was more possession probably conceded than normal. Aguero coming off, I think when he came off, you saw how much he offers, almost as a player who could just stand still and link up with other players. I thought Sterling looked good in that attacking midfield role. He likes to play with Aguero and, popping it back between the two of them. Bernardo Silva I thought was fantastic today as well for Man City. The game plan totally worked. But the respect levels that are there for a Man City team that has scored so many goals over the last few years, I think there are some real positives for Arsenal. Because if you look at the team that they've got there, I think there's some really exciting players that are just kind of not at their peak level yet. And Arteta still probably doesn't know just how good they are. Do you know what I mean? Like the likes of Kieran Tierney. Can Kieran Tierney become as good as Robertson? Can he become that? Can he get to that level? Obviously, he's not exactly the same kind of player, but I think you can see the same kind of like seeds of a good, honest player who's technically sound and who's a positive player. Gabriel, I thought, came out with the ball constantly and started some nice little moments. Won a few set pieces at the end of the game for them as well, and was defensively pretty strong for them. Sterling, I thought, was one of the best players in terms of the movement and the different positions that he had to play in the game. In terms of a man of the match, I'm going to go for Diaz, actually, because I think it was about getting the job done today for Manchester City. I don't think they know that they can destroy an Arsenal team, because it's not the same Arsenal team that we've seen in previous seasons. It's a very, very different one. And so for that to happen, they needed to stop Aubameyang. They need to be clever in how they played. I think Kyle Walker is a close second, probably just because you're struggling to play that system if you don't have someone like Kyle Walker available to you. And he probably stopped a lot of threats that you don't see in the game, but Aubameyang's not got that ball, that pass hasn't reached because Kyle Walker is there. But I thought Diaz, a big header at the end there, generally very, very solid, comfortable on the ball as well. And the one thing I did say at half-time was Cancelo, could he have got sent off? There was a naughty little challenge from him at one point. And quite a few of the Man City players got booked in this game. Ake, Diaz, Rodri, Cancelo as well. So that could have changed the game. That could have been a big, big change. But I think for Arsenal at this point, because they don't have that devastating plan B, they've got to take their chances when they get them. And they got a few of those chances in that sort of 5-minute period right at the end of that first half and didn't score them. So for Arteta, I think it's back to the drawing board a little bit, but it's something that you almost can't rush and that you shouldn't rush, really, because I think there's a lot of players here. Now, let me know in the comments below. How many of these players could play for a team that could win a title? And by that I mean, there's a lot of players here that are kind of getting into those key years. You've also got some players that are very, very young as well. Bellerin, how good can he be? And, you know, obviously that's down to Arteta. You know, add that into the equation. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this one. Tierney, Gabriel, Saliba, still to come. Xhaka, is that going to be the end of him when Thomas Partey comes in? Is there going to be a different way that Arsenal are going to play that can create that plan B where the opposition, even a Man City, are a little bit more concerned about them, and you've not got to be as defensively careful when you're Arsenal, when you've got someone like Thomas Partey there. Aubameyang, Willian obviously getting a little bit older, Lacazette getting a little bit older. How good is Nketiah? I know he's a good poacher, but can he start and can he get to that level? Let me know in the comments below. If you're a Man City fan, I think you're delighted. You got the job done. You get out of there with no more worries, no more concerns. Aguero playing minutes and you know, winning a game without De Bruyne, I think is a big plus for Man City, and especially when Liverpool haven't got the W today. If you haven't seen that reaction video, I actually filmed the last 10 minutes of the Everton versus Liverpool game, and obviously saw all the chaos unfold. So there's some of those clips peppered in there as well. Make sure you go and follow Who Assisted on Instagram and on Twitter. Link is in the description. And finally, if you are feeling really generous, hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can get ourselves to 55k. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.